Hey, what's up? We're back, or if this is your first video in this series watching, we're here. This is Ryan from How I Roll and David from Neon Gorilla. How you doing, David?
Wonderful. Let's keep rolling on this thing.
Yeah, thanks for coming to talk about top 10 pet peeves. Again, if this is the first video you're watching, we already posted 10 through 6 on David's channel, Neon Gorilla. This is 5 through 1 on my channel, How I Roll. These are our top 10 pet peeves in board games, and these are not about the people we play board games with, not the experiences, but about the games themselves, design choices, publishing choices, things that kind of drive us crazy. And these pet peeves might and do exist in games that we love and that we hold dear. Well, at least a lot of them do. So if a game has this, it doesn't mean it's complete write-off, but these are things that we wish were different. If we were the president of the world, we would get rid of these things.
Yes.
All right. So you know what? I rolled in the top 10 through 6. I'm going to roll again. So David, I'm going to roll a die, call highs or lows.
Let's go highs again.
Highs again. It is, wow, you're on fire. Number 5. So you're going
Woo.
first. And in case you didn't watch the first video, which you should, oh, by the way, 10 through 6 is linked in the description below. You can easily click that and stuff like that. Make sure you go subscribe to Neon Gorilla as well if you're watching this on my channel, which you are right now. These are my cool Game Boy Geek dice. So anyways, you are first up again. So hit us with your number 5. And you said in the 10 through 6, this is the one that you foreshadowed.
Yeah, there was a couple I foreshadowed. This in particular the foreshadowing came after you said Galactic Cruise basically was doing everything right. That's a bad paraphrase, but that's it. You called it the best game of all time, and we're going to. I like Galactic Cruise, and
it was my number 2025.
Galactic Cruise, I actually started to love even more on BGA because I got so many plays in, and I got really good at it. And I don't get good at mini games. That's why I might have a little bit of an issue with it. But my main issue with Galactic Cruise, many people are going to call it a feature. It's when worker placement doesn't block a space. And another game I think you love, Ryan, Viticulture, has the Grande workers. It allows you to kind of override. It takes some pressure off. It takes some tension away. I can do whatever I want. Galactic Cruise does give a little bit of like a nominal bonus to somebody else when you kick them off. It's not that big of a deal. I like the tension a worker placement game builds for that spot. I love when it makes you spend resources or end turns early or whatever it might be to go and compete for that first spot in the next round, which Viticulture, fair enough, it does. But I also like to look what somebody else needs, and I like to block them. My wife and I have a mostly love, but some hate relationship in there. We like our take that games. And when I can just slide in or she can and take whatever action she wants, it just doesn't feel as satisfying to me. I have a feeling you're going to be fine with it. You're from Canada. You're a nice guy. You already had your prefaces on how many of these games you love. What do you think about the Canadian version of worker placement?
Let me quickly ask you, what's your number one game of all time?
It's probably Barrage. And
Barrage.
I'm glad you're saying that because Barrage does something really beautiful. Because you can go and do the same thing as somebody else, but you have to pay the price in workers to do so. So you can still get your thing done, but your round is going to end early. There's definitely a big cost there.
Yeah, so I'm like obviously like quite the Euro gamer. You like games where you hurt people more than that. So it's interesting. You're saying you like
Barrage is one of the nastier Euros, by the way. So yeah, there's lots of
you like
blocking.
looking at what people need and going and blocking them and be like, oh, I'm gonna take that spot. Whereas I'm more like, oh man, like
Let's all
this is
have
what I need.
fun.
Yeah. So Galactic Cruise is a very rewarding game. Like even most a lot of worker placement games that have that refresh stage where you got to take everything back, you got to reset and like call a meeting or whatever. Most Euro games, that's like a wah wah kind of turn. But in this, you get bonuses and you get to take a single action. It's actually like you get bombed, you get a reward, like all that.
It's very nice.
It's quite a rewarding game. It doesn't really bother me that much because I kind of like the peaceful, harmonious, hippie experience. So,
okay,
but I do understand what you're saying, and I do know, like, so I think it maybe the first worker placement game I ever played was Agricola. It might not be the first, but it was at least early. And oh my gosh, that game is so punishing. I'm assuming you've played Agricola.
Yeah, a little bit. My wife didn't like it, so I got rid of it pretty early. But yeah, I played it.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like so punishing. So I remember I played 5-player Agricola, which is not a good player count for a game like that,
No.
but I played it and I was teaching some new people, so I was fifth in order. So you kind of have to know the game if this doesn't make sense. But anyways, it goes around, and being fifth in the first round is like pretty lame, especially you only start with 2 workers in Agricola. So my options were pretty lame by the time it came to me, but I was like, well, whatever. Someone later in player order is going to take the first player marker, and if they don't, then I'll take it, and then I can be first next round. So I went somewhere, got something, and then second worker to place out. The first player went on the take the starting player marker thing, and I was just like, I want to quit this game so badly. I am going to be fifth 4 times in a row. This is crazy. And so I have felt so many moments in Agricola where it's just kind of like or games like that where it's just like, oh man, they went there. Like I can't. My game's over. Like I can't do it. One time this isn't worker placement, but my wife Ticket to Ride to Africa. I actually got exactly 0 points because she built that one little link at the end that I needed, and it just broke
That's your
everything. She had
problem.
200.
You shouldn't
She
have
had over
had
200 points.
all of those eggs in that one basket.
Yeah.
That is a
That's exactly how I play games.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
since I'm not cutthroat, I don't expect other people to be cutthroat, right? And so, anyways, I hear what you're saying. I just went on a long rant there. I don't mind it obviously as much because I like that, but yeah, I think you tend more toward those kind of punishing systems, and it sounds like you just like something where it's kind of like, well, if I went there, the other person shouldn't just get a free pass and get to go there.
Yeah. I mean, I love Euros and I love kind of the multiplayer solitaire up to an extent, but that's the one point of interaction that you have in Euros. That's like the one agency in general that you
Yeah,
have over somebody else's game. Other than that,
yeah,
I might as well be playing the game by myself. That's just me. Galactic Cruise, to your point, it gives you lots of stuff all the time. It is a constant dopamine hit. But it's fun. It's like, to be fair, it's like a seven and a
yeah,
half. If it had blocking, I might call it an 8. To
yeah.
just to throw that out there. But you said something else that I can't say anything else about because it's my number 4. So I'm going to stop there.
Okay, great. My number 5 is bad inserts. So when I say bad inserts, what I mean is just like an insert that doesn't really work or doesn't really make sense. A lot of games are just an empty box, and that's fine. Some come with those little paper inserts that are just for cardboard inserts that are just for packing and shipping, and you take it out or whatever. But when a game actually makes an insert, and you're obviously paying for that insert, and the insert is really hard to understand what to do with, and there's no guide. So like I referenced Karma Games earlier. I like Karma Games. I'm doing some work with them, so they're kind of fresh on the brain. But Karma Games, they're last year they put out 4 games, and in most of their 3 bigger games, they all come with these cool storage trays that aren't like super elaborate, but they're like nice. But they have a sheet that's a legend of here's what you put where, here's how you pack it up,
Love that.
and it all fits. And the inserts, they sell sleeves on their crowdfunding campaign. Their inserts fit the cards sleeved or unsleeved. So that works. It all works out. The box fits it all nicely and stuff like that. Some boxes come with like these weird, like you'll have like hex shapes built into the insert, and there aren't even hex pieces in it. Like it's like a random factory standard thing. So it's like I'd just rather an empty box than a complicated one. There's a game I was just playing a bit ago that I really like, and it has a nice insert, but every time I put the game away, I'm like having to like it's like a second game I'm playing.
Yeah, it's a
I'm
new
like,
puzzle for
okay,
you, right?
I'm like, oh, it's an escape room after the game. Cool, I love it.
Yeah.
So bad inserts that don't really accommodate the pieces well, haven't been thought out, or like those inserts where you're expected to put a bunch of pieces in, but they're all just going to end up all over the box anyways. Yeah, that kind of thing. Eagle Griffin makes like some really cool inserts. Everything's a nice production with them. The Galactic Cruise insert, oh my goodness, the insert was prepared for the upcoming expansions. They've got the nice
So cool.
legend for how to pack it up. I just packed it up last night because I was filming it, and it's just kind of like I remember when I first got it, I was packing it up, and then it showed me the spaces. Is like this is where the expansion stuff that's coming is going, because that was one of my pet peeves earlier. It was like bad sized boxes. If they hadn't left space in that insert for the expansions they knew were coming or in the box, I'd be like, well, it's silly. So, anyways, yeah, I'd rather have no insert than a bad insert, and I really wish companies would buy Galactic Cruise, buy the new Clans of Caledonia or Thiefdom or whatever Karma game, and just look at what they did, and just do that for me, or else burn their inserts. Well, probably not because they're plastic and it's bad for the environment. But take those inserts, get rid of them, and just give me an empty box. But I don't know how you feel about that.
Oh, I have so much to say on this subject and so little time. An insert is the lifeblood. It's the very first thing your customer interacts with every single time they pull your game out. And if they have a bad experience out of the gates, literally setting your game up because it's in bags, as an example, or even worse, a bad insert, they're significantly less likely to come back to that game, play it enough to then go on BGG and review it and give it a 10. It needs to me, every single publisher needs to look at this. Now, I get it. We're naive to how the world works, but when I can have a modular insert that just comes out and it integrates in my gameplay, I'm just taking lids off and my game is going, hitting the ground, I am so much more likely to get that thing to the table. I'm also more likely, frankly, to say good things about it. Like Galactic Cruise, the first impression you have when you open that box is wow. I mean, the welcoming letter, the lanyard you get, sure, but that insert is so great. I will say, as an aside, I think they miscalculated the cardboard trays. Some people, they don't all fit. So before you yell at us in the comments, I get that.
Do
But the
you mean the ships,
yeah,
like those? Yeah, actually,
mine
I
don't fit.
think with the expansion, I like the ship and the tail fins. Like with the expansion, I have to really shove it into that
Yeah,
box. I
yeah,
was thinking that last night. I was like, I think they missed just a little bit on that.
yeah.
But
They did. That was a little bit of a controversy, but everything else, they are a really great example. Another example is I talked about Coming of Age from Danny Garcia. Brilliant game, no insert whatsoever. There's just kind of stuff everywhere. My buddy makes inserts, 3D prints them, Evil Machine on Etsy, and he made an insert for it. Everything pops out. You're like in the game in less than 5 minutes, where it was 10, 15, 12 minutes
yeah,
before, which makes a huge difference. So, huge
yeah.
fan of inserts. I absolutely love them.
I really love a good insert. I do not live with the expectation that every company is going to make an insert that's nice and elaborate and deluxe and stuff like that. Um, because I don't know if I always want to pay for that, if everybody always wants to pay for that. But at least just don't make a bad one. Just make no insert. But I do love a good one. So have you ever played Dice Throne? Or not Dice Throne, Dice Forge?
No, I haven't played Dice Forge.
So Dice Forge has been around for a while, and it's actually a really neat game. It's actually one of my favorite kind of teach to non-gamers who are interested in playing a game because it's like it just really shows them like, oh, there's cool stuff out there. But you open the box and the insert is so nice for story and everything. It comes out so nicely, but the insert and the box is actually part of, like, you have this temple with all these tiles and like the die faces you can buy, and it sits in the box, and the box is actually just part of it, and the insert sits in there and houses it really nicely. It's brilliant. And then their expansion is one of those boxes that's like this, it's the same
Hmm.
depth, but it's like kind of the longer rectangle. It also has the same thing. So it just sits in front of it, the two boxes beside each other, and then the board. And it's like the insert has actually just becomes part of the game. And that is really, really enjoy. I think maybe I wonder, sometimes people are trying to save expense, but sometimes I wonder, because you said first thing a customer engages with, sometimes I wonder if people forget that games aren't just a sequence of math and taking
Hmm.
actions. A game is an experience.
Yep.
And the beautiful components, the nice inserts, all of that is experience. When I just played SETI with someone who had all the 3D, he had a 3D custom printed insert, and he's just pulling it out and setting it up with all that. We get to open our own little thing. And it's just kind of like that's set up and setting up the game and all that, but that's still part of the gaming experience. It's huge. So bad inserts.
Yep. 100%.
I think some of these there can be some arguments made. Bad inserts, I think there is no excuse.
Yep.
Again, just don't put an insert. Like
Right.
lots of games just
Yeah.
put
No,
an
I
empty
agree with
box.
that. Yeah. It needs to be thought through.
Powers of Sifnos I was showing earlier doesn't have an insert. It's fine, no
Yeah.
problem. But
I'll figure it
yeah.
out.
Okay. We are getting down here. Number 4. I'm excited to see how spicy this gets.
Yeah. So I might be contradicting my last one where, you know, when a worker does not block a space, because I don't like when, in this nests with your, what you had just said, when the first player has a clear advantage.
Yeah.
A lot of games will give you extra resources. And sometimes you wonder, is that really balancing out? Like, is that, you know, how important is that first turn? Is there a mechanism that allows me to go grab that first turn if I want to sacrifice something? I think that's an interesting decision in games. But when that first turn, especially if it doesn't rotate, and there is, I'm playing a game right now, Wondrous Creatures, love the game. I think it's better than Everdell. But it's occurring to me that first player never rotates. I might be playing it wrong, but first player never rotates. And the game ends immediately when the last trophy is taken, meaning there could be a uneven number of turns, which is insane to me. Like that's absolutely crazy. Not giving everyone the same number of turns to do the goals and all of this other stuff. Regardless, I need to have a mechanism to go grab that first player. I need to, even if I have to end my turn early to be able to go grab it, or I use one of my workers to somehow capture first player when it's important. But if there is just clear advantages and there's not a lot of agency, or it costs too much for me to go and grab that first player, where the you know, the first last person to fly in a plane is a first player, you know, if that's determining my fate, I don't like it.
Yeah. Um, I feel myself like philosophically agreeing with you. Then I think about Scythe that does that very thing, and I love
Does
that
it?
game.
Okay.
Um, well,
Is it
Scythe, someone
impactful?
start, yeah, someone start. But the thing is Scythe. So I think what you're saying actually, my number 7 was insane imbalancing, and I was mostly focused on like factions, player powers, and stuff like that. But this is the other type of thing I mean, where it's like, yeah, it's like, okay, first player gets to go first, and next player gets like one less coin in a game where coins aren't that consequential. And it's kind of like, well, why didn't you give me like 3 coins or something like that?
Mhm.
So I do, I that goes back to that imbalancing thing. In some games, I think it kind of works out and it's not a big deal.
Yeah, some do.
I just did the how to play for Euphoria. The starting player never changes because it's one of those games just continuous. But
Yeah.
that one you finish the round, so it's even turns and stuff like that. So I don't know if there's an advantage one way or the other. But yeah, where there's a clear advantage given to one player just for randomly being the starting player, or because they were in a lab last or on an airplane last or whatever the
Right.
silly starting player thing is, I agree.
Yeah.
I think I think if there's something that just creates an immediate unfair advantage, then that should be mitigated somehow. So
And in Wondrous Creatures, you have 3 workers that you're placing. And once you're done, there's no other alternate type of turn. So you're always just like placing 3, placing 3. But when you're done, you clear your board, you do some sort of like, you know, clearing upkeep, and then you get to go again. But the second player has to clear its board after that, meaning it always has the very first choice on a space. And the new expansion, which I will tease here a little bit, is constantly changing that board pretty significantly, making some of those spaces highly rewarding. So when my wife goes to the same space every time, I feel like that might be a little broken.
I agree with everything you're saying, but I think I wanna maybe fact check you on that because I think in Wondrous Creatures, playing a card or 2 is a turn.
No, that's part of your turn. You always, at the end of your turn, you can always play 2 cards.
Because I've only played it on BGA and it just gives me. Are you playing it in real human life?
Yeah. Uh-oh.
You might be breaking a rule because I do
Maybe.
think, or else BGA is messed up. I think your turns are either placing a worker, uh, playing cards, or claiming trophies. Um, and so I think you can make the turns kind of async like that. So
Well, then
are
I'm going to
you?
sound like an idiot. You're going to need to cut that out. I'm just kidding. You can leave
No,
it.
no, that's. I'm gonna if I'm gonna make shorts out of this video, it's gonna be like David be like in Wonders.
Yeah.
How to play
Uh,
Wondrous Creatures, official how to play with Neon Gorilla. But
oh
I
my
could be wrong, but
gosh.
that's I think how it works on BGA. I've only played it like 1.5 times on BGA, but are you looking it up right now?
Yeah.
Okay, well, my number 4 is people who get rules wrong in just kidding.
I was just
Well,
going off of this, like talking to somebody. Oh my gosh, why is it not coming up? Um, and saying like how embarrassing it is when you mess up rules on your channel and then you hear about it in the comments.
well, it's great. Hey, you know what though? The fact of the matter is that your point still stands. Whether or not
Right.
Wondrous Creatures is the great example of that or not, which it still might be an advantage. Um, when a game doesn't make it so that all players on a fairly even playing field, then that's not good. I actually think Great Western Trail in their newer versions did a really good job of that by not only giving more coins, but you draw more cards to start with, and everyone gets to start wherever they want on the map. I actually think that Great Western Trail did a really good job of balancing out turn order and stuff like that. So, did you find the fact check yet?
Yes. So I fact checked using Cardboards, which is my app. Rules lawyer. Yes. After you place a worker, you can still play cards on that same turn.
Hmm.
So
Okay, well, yeah, I'll have to. I might be wrong. I've only played it on BGA like one full game, but I feel like it's always just giving me a choice. But anyways, we can. Whoever's
either
watching this
way,
in the comments,
first player
what?
advantages suck.
Yeah, whoever's watching this and is a Wondrous Creatures guru in the comments below, let us
Right.
know if you're Team Ryan or Team David, and if you're this one's on my channel. So if you're not Team Ryan, I'm gonna block you from my channel. So is that a thing? Can you block? I don't know if that is it.
Yeah, well, you
All
can
right.
hide them. They don't know that they're hidden though. They
Okay.
just keep yapping at you for the till the end of time. There
That's
are some of
great.
you out there on Neon Gorilla that do that, I'm sure.
Oh, that was great. I haven't not you know what? No one likes getting like hate on their channel. But to be honest, there's part of me it's like, oh, my channel's not big enough that I've got a bunch of haters yet. So it's actually like I feel a little insecure that I'm not getting hate. So again, if
You're
you're
too
watching this,
nice.
maybe it was
Who's gonna hate
hate.
you? People will hate
Uh
me now that I just like made this big diatribe on the wrong rule, possibly. So
we'll see. Half this video is just us conjecturing about Wondrous Creatures.
yeah.
Wait,
All right, let's
that's
move
a
on.
great That's a great actually since especially since it's on my channel, it's a great shout out to Cardboard. You just referenced Cardboard. Why don't you take a second to tell people that are watching what Cardboard is?
Cardboard is my board game social app, but it's so much more. I'm trying to build a community, in fact, the best community in all of board gaming, and I need your help. It's free. Go sign up, crdbrd.app. I'd love to have you over there, and I'd love to chat about my rules mistakes in board games.
I will link that below. I think My Towers of Sifnos Teach, which you can click here to see, is in that app. And it has like what I think is cool. So I'm not affiliated with Cardboard, is you can go watch the video, but you can just AI ask a question like, how does this work or whatever, and it will reference the video. It's really cool. So, anyways, I'll link that in the description below. I'm on Cardboard. It's a great place to make some top tens and different things like that. So go check it out.
Beautiful.
But
Real quick,
yeah.
a rules update. So you might be thinking when you place a worker, you can either take the resources or the matching card from the wilderness, but you can always play cards.
On BGA, it's like place worker, play 1 to 2 cards. It has these buttons, so
I think you
I'm
can do them
pretty
in
sure.
any
I'm gonna
order. You
go
might
play
be
it after.
okay. Yeah, we'll play it after.
Well,
Moving
it
on.
might be that I'm forfeiting parts of my turn.
Maybe, who knows?
Like it could be that I'm just like, yeah. Anyways, whatever. We can argue about this some other time. Number 4. We've only done one on this video. Number 4, David.
We can
What
cut
do
all
you
that
got?
out.
Yeah.
Let's see. That was my number 4.
Oh yeah. Sorry, it's my turn.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Number 4 is weak expansion integration. Um, And what I mean by that is like, so I thought about putting bad expansions on here, but I kind of thought that went in with like garbage spin-offs or whatever that I had at number 9 or whatever. But weak expansion integration is like when, okay, so Grand Australia Hotel did this awesome thing where they made this big modular expansion to an already awesome game. And at the back of the rule book, the expansion rule book, it just said, here's your new setup legend. And it's like, set up this up. If you're playing with this, then add this in. If you're playing with this, do this. And it just had like this global setup that does everything like that. Stonemeyer with a scythe, or not scythe, tapestry with all their stuff does a great job of like updating that to be like, hey, here's now what you're doing if you're using all this stuff. Here's the breakdown for all this and stuff like that. And just make it really accessible. I don't love it, especially when a lot of rule books now are like, as big as the box. You got this huge rule book in one hand, this other rule book in this hand. I keep putting my hands outside of the screen because I'm not used to being split screen like this. But you're like, you got these two giant rule books, and you're like, and you're trying to see like, okay, I'm reading step 1, 2, 3 of here, and then the expansion. I got, okay, this is when that matters. And I find that really frustrating. And not just the setup, but like the rules too, the way it like interjects into like this. I just would like the expansion rulebook to do a clear setup that says, okay, here's how you do it. And especially if it's modular and you've got 5 modules in there, to just break it down nicely. And then to also lay out the rules in a nice way that integrate with the rules well. And then not just the rule book, but some expansions just don't integrate well with the main game already. They're doing their own thing, and it dissolves a part of the main game that's still in there, but it makes it like useless and pointless and stuff like that. I love expansions. So I just am so frustrated. I actually feel frustrated. My blood's boiling when a publisher takes a game that I love and I'm giving them my money for this expansion, and the expansion doesn't really work well, or it just hurts a part of the previous game, or it doesn't fit in well, and it makes it a clunky, difficult experience. Because I love expansions. I'm here for you to take my money, publishers, and you make an expansion that doesn't fit well. It's like a square peg in a round hole, and that to me is just, again, it's kind of like the inserts. Just don't make the expansion, please.
Right.
Don't get my hopes up. Don't ruin my game. Just, yeah. So anyways, that's my number 4.
I can't comment on it without divulging my 3 or 2.
Oh, okay. Then why don't we just pause? Because it sounds like we've got at least, this list is so nuanced that the crossovers, like you'd have more crossovers when it's like a list of like games because they're titles to games, but this is different explanations of different things. So, because even your number 4 kind of was like my number 7, but
Right.
like presented a little bit differently with them. So anyways, let's just move right on to number 3. I'm curious what your number 3 is.
All right. So number 3 is directly related to expansions. When a publisher does not maintain one rulebook, meaning if I get an expansion, I want a new copy of the full rulebook.
Yeah.
I don't want to look in your expansion rulebook and say, go to the base game rulebook and set up steps 11 through 16. A game I've talked about recently does exactly that, and it drives me insane. At the very least, if your expansion rulebook has to be separate, don't make me reference the original. Like, just because the information does live somewhere else, I really don't want to be looking through 2 different books. Some great examples: Everdell collection, the big box, has 1 book. An even better example is Leader Games. While they'll give you in the root expansions a separate kind of like how to play that's very specific to those factions, they maintain the Law of Root, and the Law of Root is always updated with new factions. It's one living document. It can always be found online, and in every new expansion or new printing of older expansions, it's always the most recent Law of Root. I love that. So
Leader Games is not shy about being willing to put a lot of words on a lot of pages and put it into a book.
that is true. That is true. But they're not
But
the
they do
only
it.
one.
Yeah. I just played the new expansion they sent me the other day. What's it called? You'd
Homeland.
know. The Homeland?
Yeah.
Homeland?
At
How's the
least it
frogs?
was
I
when I
wanted
covered
actually.
it. Did you? Which faction? Bats or frogs?
Froggies.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
which faction?
dysphoria. Lily pad dyspora,
Diaspora.
right? Diaspora. That's what it is. That's how you say that word.
Yeah, I know it because it relates to my degree, and anyways, it's nerdy. But anyways, the diaspora. Yeah, I don't usually when I play Root, it's not a game I expect to win. But I won, and it felt awesome. Mostly just because the other people did a bad job of dealing with the frogs the way they should have.
Mhm.
So people kind of let me chill, and I took it. But yeah, they do a great job. They're like, hey, here's a new expansion. You might own everything. I also think it's in the favor of a publisher that's putting out a lot of expansions, because it's like, hey, if you've got this if you get the newest expansion beyond some other ones and you're reading about it, you're like, oh, that's cool. I kind of want the Marauders or something like that. So, but yes, one whole rule book is like, why not? You know, bit of work, bit of time.
Just
Um,
maintain it. Just maintain one rule book, you know?
yeah, totally. So I agree with that. That's really good. Were you done with that? Did I cut you off?
No, no, have at it. You're number
Yeah.
3.
My number 3 is I don't know if this should be this high, but I do find this frustrating. Packaging that damages the game. So lately, there have been a fair amount of publishers that have gone away from plastic around the games for environmental reasons, and I totally respect them. That's great, and I think it's good that people are being thoughtful about stuff like that. However, that doesn't mean you have to put stickers on it. There's some stickers that peel off nicely. There's some stickers that don't, and a quick test would let you know which ones do and don't. And I have had a number of games where I've ripped off part of the box. Now, I'm a board game player, but I'm also a board game collector, and I care about my games. I like my games. And even if it's not my favorite game, I want it to look nice. My kids know that, like, they play games with me, but they know I want them to treat them well, and I want them to take care of them and stuff like that. So when the very first thing that I do with a game is rip part of the box off, um, some have even put like stickers or price tags, and some of that might have to do with the manufacturer, some of that might have to do with the retailer, whatever. But those types of packagings. Also, that can come down to even the not just that, but inside the box, the way that the way the components come in the box sometimes where they're not packed to ship, but they're like moving around stuff. So I've opened some boxes where they haven't, I guess, thought through the shipping that well. And so then you open it and some stuff in there has moved around, it's gotten bent or damaged and stuff like that. And that's really frustrating to me, that the very first thing that I get to experience is either me damaging the box or opening a box to something that's damaged because it wasn't packed in a way that would keep it in good condition. So yeah, packaging that damages the game.
So are you talking about like the little round stickers that will essentially close the
Yeah.
box? Yeah. So
Yeah.
I have the same thing. It is absolutely annoying. I just cut them now. I just go along the box crease and I leave them there because I am scared. Unless it's really
Yeah.
obvious that they'll peel off, like it's one of those really shiny boxes or whatever. But I can't remember which one I damaged. It might have been Daybreak because that is a very environmentally conscious box. I think I ripped that box
Well,
with the sticker.
so, but the problem still remains that if you cut the sticker, then you still have sticker on your box.
Yeah.
So the
Oh yeah.
box is still damaged, in the sense that it's not like I want half a clear sticker on there. So,
That's true.
uh,
But it does look better than a rip. I'll say
oh,
that.
100%. In some companies, the thing is, you don't really know. Like, I almost wish a company would put a disclaimer note that comes with the game. It's like, hey, by the way, we tested a bunch of stickers. These ones will come off easily.
Mhm.
Um, I think a number of games I've gone from Ravensburger have it, and they obviously have got it figured out, and they put decent stickers on there, so it's all good. So I trust them. But yes, I whenever I see those stickers, I'm just like, mm, yeah. So, anyways, that's those stickers, bad packaging inside. I just don't want my game to be damaged. You know.
I agree.
So,
Number 2,
okay, great. Number 2.
we're almost there. All right. So this also has some crossover, a little bit at least. It's I guess there's two things. The modular expansion, specifically though, when it's built out of the gates, meaning it should have probably been in the design, but for probably price point reasons, add-on unit reasons, it was clearly ripped out, and it's so painfully obvious when you play it that you will never play it without it, right? Like
Yeah.
the if anyone's listened to me lately, I've been on this tear around layers, how much I love layers. I think it's such an incredible game, but I only have the base game. I bought it myself, and I bought it to try it because it was a pretty cheap price point. I think it was $39, which unfortunately nowadays is an incredibly cheap game. But the very first thing I did was say, this has to have expansions. And of course, expansions are coming. They're lagged just a little bit after the base game to get you in at that cheap price point. And then at the end of the day, I'm going to end up spending over $100 on this game because the content was split up rather than thoughtfully added later in the future when either they're trying to fix a problem or just give you more of that content. While on one hand, in fact, Cardboard East, Jay argued yesterday in an interview that it's a really great way to get people as an entry point into games. And then if they like it, expand on it. But this is just so painfully obvious that it should have been included. This happens on Kickstarter all the time. And it just drives me nuts. Give me the game the way it's supposed to play. That's it.
Yeah, well, Jay works for a publishing company, so I
Yeah.
mean, this is exactly the type of take. Well, some of these, but for sure, this one is the type of take that a publisher or a designer or whatever is watching, and they're like, "Who do these guys think they are?" You know, and like they
A
don't get it and
consumer that
stuff.
spends money.
Yeah. Um, so, and you know what? In some ways, they're probably right, and then in some ways, our opinion is valid too, right? Like it's it's not just kind of black or white all the time, but
Right.
yeah,
I
I
agree.
I feel like I love expansions for games I love. And sometimes like I think about some expansions where I'm like, whoa, if I got all the tapestry stuff out of the gates, it would be overwhelming. Um, but there are some expansions where you're right. It's just like, well, why couldn't like at least part of this have just come with the base game, it would be cool to have a little bit of variability built in and stuff like that. And especially when it's like, hey, kickstart this game, you kickstart it, and then 2 weeks later it's like, nay, Kickstarter expansion. It's like, wait, what? Like, what?
Hmm.
Why wasn't that just, like, why didn't you just sell that to me out of the gates or whatever? So, yeah. Oh,
Bless you.
sorry. That was a big sneeze brewing that I just,
Yeah.
I couldn't hold it in
It
anymore. I was
came out
like,
like a
wrong video. I
mouse
gotta hold
though. That was pretty held back.
I tried to stifle it and it just like, a bunch of air came on my lips and made an elephant noise. So, all right. Yours is the expansion one.
Yep.
Okay, my number two, and this is one that I am actually really passionate about, but I feel like, do you ever have an opinion and you keep like saying it to people, like hoping and expecting someone to be like, yeah? I feel like this one, whenever I say it, people are like, oh, okay. But this one drives me
All right,
insane.
try me.
It is no score tracking mechanism. And what I mean is,
Mm.
you get to the end of the game and the rule book just says, now I can name a bunch of games I love that do this. I still love the game. But when it gets into the game, it's like, okay, now add up your points from these 7 things. And you're like, where? So everyone pulls out their phone. And I'm not like anti phone. Obviously, like we're making a video, it's going to go on the internet that people mostly watch on their phones and stuff like that. But that's one of the beautiful things about playing a board game is that's actually the biggest time besides when I'm sleeping that my phone disappears to me, and I'm just here. But the idea of a game with this cool arc of gameplay coming to the point where we all have our phones doing the calculator app is like, and you don't get to see the beauty of people. Like I actually really love doing group scoring where it's just like, oh, okay, uh let's score your bonus cards, and then you move the score tracker around the board. So a score tracker around the board or victory point chips to take. Like in Scythe, you don't actually you're supposed to get the points for things, but I always tell people, I mean, take the coins. Like let's score hexes, take the coins, that type of thing. Or else even a score sheet. Sheets are not a big premium component. You can make those. They're not like the coolest, most exciting thing, but you have like all this gameplay and you're doing this thing together, and then everyone pulls out their phone, is doing their calculator on their own, and then it just says 37, 41.
And do you believe
I
them?
well, actually, especially when I'm teaching the game, I'm like, that's one of the beauties about score. And not only do I not believe them because I think they might have too many points, but I might not believe them because a lot of times I monitor people's turns when I'm playing a game to make sure they're not cheating or reverse cheating. And both of those obviously
Yeah.
happening, hopefully accidentally, hopefully not on purpose. But
Right.
it's like, uh, it's like, oh, I want to make sure you actually got enough points or not too many points or it's all fair or whatever. But also, I just think it's like fun scoring the game together. It's part of the game. So I just think pulling out phones and doing calculators. So I I don't know why this bothers me so much, but it has just started to bother me so much when the end of the game is just this nebulous add up your points, and it's a significant amount of points to add up. And there's like, it's not like you're just like kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I got 4. It's like this
Hmm.
thing like that. Like put a score tracker around the board, make some I just got chemical overload, and they've got these cool gems for victory points. Take a bunch of those. Or a score sheet. Yeah. Anyways, that's that. You could disagree with that if you want.
No, I don't disagree with that. I think I like the score track. What I my preferred way of scoring is a score track where you can have an idea where you are versus other players, but then hidden goals or
Yeah.
some sort that's going to be a big surprise, but you're still going around the, okay, score yours, I got 5, okay, score yours, I got 7, and you're like, that adds to drama
Yeah.
there at the end. But yes, a point salad that's a list on a rule book that doesn't go into a scorecard. Well, even then, I guess if you're scoring everything at the very end, you have no idea where you are. That's awful. Because it doesn't, you could have just been getting destroyed the entire game. It doesn't add or detract to the tension, but there's such a great opportunity to be able to have live scoring that creates tension, as long as the game's balanced and you
Yeah.
can kind of keep close. So I agree with you. I have no qualms with that whatsoever.
Well, like Five Tribes doesn't have a score tracker, but everything is there except that hidden component of how much money a person has.
Hmm.
Uh, and so
Love that.
it's cool because you can like see it. It's the same as having a score tracker with hidden objectives at the end that you're like, oh, now I'm gonna get these many. So I do agree that that's my favorite when it's like the info's kind of there with a little bit of a secret thing that you could maybe guess at. Um, so I do prefer that over a score sheet. I just would way rather a score sheet over um, just pulling out your phones and using
Yeah.
a calculator app.
It's a missed opportunity for drama being built into the game design, I think.
Totally. Yeah, 100%. So that one bothers me so much. It doesn't bother anyone else as much as me so far. One day I'll meet someone, but it bothers me so much that it's my number 2. Okay, before we go into the big number 1, this list was pretty hard to like know what to put on, what not to put on. And by the way, if you're watching this far, thanks for joining us. Please throw in the comments your pet peeves because there might be some obvious ones that we missed. But I thought we could do a couple honorable mentions, ones that I thought about that, and maybe you have some that didn't quite make our top 10, but ones that we thought of. So why don't you hit me with all your honorable mentions and then
I
I'll
only
hit you
have
with mine.
one, and I discovered it as you were talking about text on cards. And I think I alluded to this in the first video. And it's lots of keywords. Now, if I have to look up a ton of different keywords to play your
Yeah.
game, that is tough. I was wondering as you were talking about text on cards, shout out first video, go watch it. Would I rather have keywords on there that are just, or even symbols that I have to go and look up? And I think the answer to that was how many of those symbols are possible. And anytime you're creating friction on a lookup, that kind of drives me nuts. So, lots of keywords was the only thing that it probably should beat out not enough. Oh, I won't even say that. I just teased the first video. Never mind. It should have beat out my number 10. Go watch the first video.
Yeah, first video is linked in the description. Yeah, I on that note, I don't like it when games feel like they need to have their own unique keywords. Like discard means just like we're all good with the word discard. You don't need to reinvent it. There are just lots of like language, like be creative with your game, but when you're reinventing a whole new set of language and keywords and there are different ones, that's the type of stuff like that nuance I was talking about earlier on one of mine. It's just like just keep that straightforward, keep the card straightforward. I love cards with clear icons. A game with just good iconography everywhere is like, yeah. Like I just did the how to play for Euphoria Essential. I think I mentioned that earlier. And it's like, by the time I've taught you a bunch of rules, you can like figure it all out because the
Right.
icons all make sense. You might not know how to win, but you're not going to need to reference the rule book for that. Like you've got it. So
Yeah, thematic keywords. That's a good one. Thematic keywords suck. Give me plain English. Draw a card.
yeah,
Don't tell me
totally.
I cast a spell by drawing a card.
If we're playing your game, we're not joining your cult, right? So
Right.
we don't
Yeah.
need to know all the insider language.
Yeah.
It's cool that you think that like this weird word. I like it when like a game throw has like Scarbray from Garfield has midden, and Nassau. I just covered that from Queen Games. It has these sailors yarns. I was like, what does this word mean? I looked that up, but it's like it's not like every word. It's just like a cool historic word that they
Yeah.
threw in. That's cool. But when it's like you're describing drawing a card or playing a card with some weird language, that's like just say play a card.
Hmm.
Okay, I had 4 honorable mentions. I'll do these really quickly. I'll just rapid fire them, and then if there are any you want to comment on, you can. But one is terrible tiebreakers. I like it when a tiebreaker is meaningful to the game. So when it's like it picks the most like meaningless part of the game, it's like if you're there. I in general like tiebreakers that will actually decide a winner rather than just go straight to, oh, shared victory. Who cares?
Yeah.
So I like it when a tiebreaker goes maybe like 2 or 3 layers deep, and then it's like, okay, whatever. But especially I like it when it's like something that actually mattered in the game. Like so often the most coins is a really good one because it's like coins really mattered. You're not giving me a lot of victory points for that. So terrible tiebreakers drive you crazy. Um, this one is kind of like what we were talking about. It's inconsistencies between iconography and rule book depictions. So in the rule book, we'll say something, but it will show a picture of something, or else it will have like some inconsistencies between how the icons look, or they change the words and stuff. I mean, that's just bad editing. But I've run into a couple games with that. Another one is advertisements on the sides of boxes.
Ooh,
Um,
yeah.
I don't mind if the
Only a few do
publisher
that, but yeah, that's kind of awful.
Yeah, I don't mind if the publisher wants to put in their little book, like the little tiny book in there and say, "Hey, here are like 12 games," or that's fine. That's great. That's cool. I can look through that if I'm interested or not. Um, but when it's right on the side of the like usually it's like on the inside, like the side of the bottom of the box. So it's not showing when it's on your shelf or whatever. But to me, it just kind of cheapens the game. It's kind of like I, yeah, I get why they do that, and I understand like it's a razor thin industry and stuff like that. But I don't again, I'm a collector. As much like I don't want stickers ripping my boxes, I don't want your ads printed all over my boxes. So, and my other one was legacy games with too much maintenance in between sessions.
Mm,
So my wife and I are currently playing a legacy game, but we actually haven't played in a while because part of this is an issue with my wife. Part of this is an issue with the game. But she'll be like, all of a sudden it'll be like the kids are in bed. She's like, "Oh, why don't we play that game?" And it's like, oh well, you should give me some time because there's a lot of maintenance. I got to
yeah.
like recalibrate, get us reset up. I love legacy games, and I get that there has to be some degree of maintenance and changing between sessions and stuff like that. But when it's so much and I have to read so much, so that every time, like if we haven't played for a few weeks, we come back, I'm like, okay, I got to like reread the whole rule book to like catch back up. I just really love legacy games where they've figured out a way to make it kind of like, so, okay, let's get you back up and running. Or they've
Hmm.
built the maintenance into like the end of a session rather than it being front loaded on the front of a session. So that won't prevent me from playing those games. That game, well, it does prevent me from playing that game some nights if my wife doesn't give me enough notice, but um, it doesn't stop me from playing legacy games because I love them. I just, that's just a complexity that I don't know how to solve that, but I just wish it wasn't there. So, anyways, I don't know if you feel like you need to say anything about those or if you just want to hop into
No, the
number
only
one.
legacy one is in the middle of the game. I'm fine with some upkeep, but when it really kills the momentum of the play,
Yeah,
and you have people essentially yawning while you're reading paragraphs or grabbing cards or placing stickers, like that's the difficult part for me. But yeah.
totally. When I think one of the things is when a legacy does a really good storage system, like it's so
Mhm.
clear that this envelope is where the current things go and they come out of it and stuff like that. That's really helpful. So, David, this is the moment of truth. I hope we have the same one for this, but I doubt we will. But I am curious
That'd be
what your
funny. I
number
don't I
one.
don't think so.
Someone's going
So
to comment. Someone's going to comment a pet peeve that I'm going to be like, shoot, that should have been my number one. But anyways,
right.
hit me with your number one.
So card games often have this issue where you're trying to like match symbols or keywords like we were talking about. You need synergistic cards to work for you. Arc Nova is one of them, not necessarily a pet peeve, but a lot of designers will solve this problem by creating a card market, which is a nice introductory step in helping you kind of find the card that you're looking for. But there's some games that don't rotate the card market, and those cards just sit there. A stale card market is my biggest pet peeve and the number one thing that we house rule. Almost immediately, we don't even have to play the game. If there's no automated and actually relatively consistent way to, especially when you're talking about a two-player game that where
I
the
was
card market gets, yeah,
I was gonna say, especially at 2 players. This is a
two
real issue at 2
a
players.
huge, right? It's not taking into account the number of times you need to rotate out those cards. And there's just cards you can argue that all, oh, you're maybe there's some good cards you're not loving, but there's just some cards you don't love to play.
Yeah,
Space Base is a really great example of one early that I think we house ruled. I'm probably getting it wrong. There's like, oh, you should rotate those. We clear those all the time. There's just certain cards we
yeah,
don't like to play, especially when you add in all of the expansions. it just drives me nuts. I think there needs to always be a mechanism to keep those cards flowing. Shout out Wondrous Creatures. The whole expansion, it seems like, is helping to rotate cards and help you to find the cards you need. So I really appreciate that when a designer goes out of their way to help you find the synergies, because that's what's fun. It's not playing an entire game without finding that card that was going to complete your
Yeah.
goal or make you feel powerful.
Yeah, it's such a bummer when you're playing a game, you're like, "I wanna do cool stuff," and eventually you just have to relent to be like, "There's no other option because these cards are still here, so I'll just buy this card." That's actually, quite a few games that is part of their two-player integration, is they're like, "Okay, if you're only playing with 2 players, get rid of the oldest card or get rid of this many cards," or
Mm.
whatever, stuff like that. Or if you're not gonna refresh the card market like some games do, you put a coin on each card that wasn't taken or each action that
Yeah, I
wasn't taken
love
or
that.
whatever.
I love that.
That type of thing where it's yeah, anyways, it's making, I think what you said, stale card market. Yes, I've played games where it's just a standoff between like my wife and me or someone else and me where it's kind of like, well, I don't want to take
Right.
that garbage. Like
Well, yeah,
you
four
take
or
that.
five we're just not touching, and we're waiting for that one to rotate. Like, are you going to take that one? Because I really want to see what's next.
Yeah. I played like said, I had a friend that we used to play that DC deck building quite a bit. I don't know if you ever play that game, but um that would happen sometimes in that where it's just this 5 card market and it was like, and the problem is not only are you taking a bad card, but if you take the bad card, you're refreshing the market for the other player. And so then it's like, well, you take the card, I don't want
Right.
it. Like,
It's like it's an
so yeah,
unintended design feature, right? Where it's like, oh, that's a tension in the game. Who's going to take the one crappy card to see what the next one is, which just isn't fun.
yeah, absolutely.
All right,
All
I'm
right.
excited. I'm excited to hear this. What
I
makes
actually,
you most
I'm kind of,
frustrated?
yeah, I'm kind of surprised this wasn't on your list. I thought this would
Okay.
be a crossover, but the thing is, some of these kind of relate to other ones, so maybe you feel like we're going. But it's my number
Right.
one, my biggest pet peeve in board games. This one, like, it was hard to place some of the things on this list. It was not hard to place number one. Number one was the easiest thing ever for me to place, and that is bad rule books. Bad rule books they're completely unacceptable. It's one thing 30 years ago when you're a German company or a French company or a company from somewhere else making an English rule book or a different language rule book that you don't speak, and you're trying to figure out a way with a lack of technology to translate that well. That's fine. In 2026, with how connected we are, all the technology, all the stuff, to have a bad rule book, especially one that's bad in its native language, is to me completely unacceptable and frustrating. And no one's perfect. No one's like, I mean, the Galactic Cruise rule book is excellent, and not everyone can maybe do that. Not everyone can hire Paul Grogan to consult on the rule book or whatever. But when your rulebook is just filled with mistakes or it doesn't explain key aspects of the game or it leaves ambiguity or whatever, to me, it's like it hurts the experience for the person who's like the primary consumer because they buy it, they read it, they're going to teach it. But it also hurts the people who are playing the game because inevitably, while they're playing the game, the person teaching it is less secure in the rules. And so they have to be like, well, I think this. And they're referencing the rule book and stuff like that. Um, Bad rule books have always driven me insane, especially now that I am running this channel and I read rule books all the time.
Right.
There are moments where I get 2 paragraphs in and I'm just like, this is awful. Like, why are you doing this? Like, do you hate me? Like, you just want me to suffer reading this rule book? So, my first experience of this, I will name a game right now, and I don't care because this game is probably my least favorite game of all time. But, and that's okay. Anyways, I remember back in the day when I was getting into board games and I was like learning more and more games. And my friend was getting married, and we thought, let's get them a few. We were starting to play games. And I'm like, let's get them a few games because they wanted to get more into games. And then this way, like for their wedding present. So we got them a pile of games. And so I just went and looked online what games are popular and stuff like that. So I got them Relic Runners, which is a cool Days of Wonder game back then. I got them King of Tokyo, which was fun for a little bit and then became less fun. A handful of games that were cool, some different ones, but there was this really popular game that seemed popular all over the world. Lots of people talked about it and stuff like that. It's this game called Munchkin, and I remember sitting down, and I was the person who always read the rule book. I would read it twice, get it all figured out, and go teach everyone. And I like when the rules make sense. I read the Munchkin rule book. It's short, and I finished reading it and was like, "What? I have more
You don't know
questions
how to
about
play
this
the
game than
game.
when I started." So I read it again, and I read it again. I was looking for answers. I was like, there are no answers. And what I realized now is Munchkin is a game where eventually you just decide what happens in the game.
Mm,
And so I may be getting into another pet peeve. I don't think that's a system that makes sense. I don't like playing games like that. But um, that feeling of reading the rule book and being like, like the rule book should give you a sense of security and direction and idea of how to play a game. And when a rule book confuses you or makes it convoluted or difficult or whatever, anyways, I find it completely frustrating. I think it's totally unacceptable. I don't think there's any reason why nowadays people, like, heck, if you're a publisher and you're watching this, you're like, Ryan, you know what you're talking about? Send me a rule book. I'd be happy to I'd be happy to work with you to read over it. There are a number of content creators who do um, stuff like that. I have, I know a handful of content creators who do editing and stuff like that, and be happy to give you some input and say, hey, here's how a normal person reads a rule book. So,
mm.
yeah. Anyways, I just ranted for a long time. Maybe you love bad rule books, David. Maybe that's your favorite thing.
You know what? I was gonna say that, but you did jog a couple memories of pet peeves within rule books. I hate when it goes right into the minutia and is giving me all of these kind of like I don't know, meta concepts instead of telling me what the overarching goal of the game, how I score points. In fact, a lot of rule books I go and I read the in-game scoring first. And then I
Mhm.
go back and start to read. So I understand, I have context when I'm reading why it might be important to place that token there or whatever it might be. I'm also a heavily visual learner. I need pictures, I need examples, or I need to go watch the how to play on how I roll. Rip up the rules, I should say, on your channel. Like I need visuals, I need examples. Big walls of text don't work very well with me. So that's why I'm glad you're around.
Oh, why? Thank you. I feel the same way about restaurant menus. I'm way more likely to order something off a restaurant menu where there's a picture than something that's just described by words. If there's a picture, it's like, oh, yeah, like, I like that kind of a thing. But if it's just
Right.
words, but yeah, visuals are so helpful. They just, when you make a rule book, you just need to get some other people to read it and
Yeah.
say, hey, do you think you could really understand how this game works? And like, not your mom or not someone who's just going to say yes, but like someone who could critically say, like, isn't that great? I actually just recently had a publisher just ask me about the rule book, and I told him, I was like, it's not bad, but like a couple things that make it pretty clunky. So maybe you could tweak that or whatever. And I think that's really great. So that's it. We did
Beautiful.
10 pet peeves. Here's the thing. I love board games. But even within the hobby, there's some things that are like, I wish it wasn't so. But that is what it is. If you watch this whole top 10 list, David and I would
Ooh,
both like to say thank you. You are a
absolutely.
champion. You're a legend. Let us know in the comments your pet peeves. Again, you're watching on How I Roll right now, number 1 through 5. So make sure you go over to Neon Gorilla. It's linked in the description below. Hit subscribe to Neon Gorilla. David also had me on there for an interview a while back, so you can go
Go
find
watch
that
that.
as well.
Beautiful. That's what you can see
Yeah,
a friendship come into existence. It's great.
yeah. Well, and that's one of the best things about board games, right?
Yep.
People, the community, the friendships that it builds, and stuff like that. So it's wonderful. So, anyways, our top 10 pet peeves of board games. Thank you so much for joining. Thanks, David, for coming and hanging out for this.
Hey, thanks for having me. This was a blast.
Yeah, thanks, man.